I have a cardboard cutout of Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks over there. A lot of the times when I have people over, they see him in the corner of their eye, whatever, creeps them out. So in this video we're going to talk about ghost movies. I just watched The Conjuring for the first time. I bought the first and second film on Blu-ray because I have been wanting to watch them for quite a few years now. They were on Netflix, but of course, licensing, they left Netflix without me noticing, and when I finally felt like I wanted to watch them, they weren't there, so I went out, bought them just before another lockdown occurred. I didn't end up watching them until a week and a half later because I had work every single day and I like to sleep. So knowing that ghost films have a particular effect on me overall, in contrast to all horror films. Horror films being such a broad genre, mostly are films that can scare you, that can terrify you. And they can do this in multiple different ways. You've got your more generic things of the jump scare movies, but then you've got some that use atmosphere and tension. Then you've got some that just have scary monsters or, scary effects or, this or that just adds to it. Like Evil Dead has scary creatures, which is just people possessed by demons, deadites if you will, and a creepy atmosphere. You've got Alien, which has, again, a creepy atmosphere and a monster. Jesus Christ, they're all the same. The slasher films are a dude wants to kill people. Oh no, let's be scared of a dude who wants to kill people. I personally do not find slasher films to be scary, but I do enjoy watching them. They're fun. So, when it comes down to ghost films, which is arguably my favorite horror genre, or subgenre, I guess, would be because they actually scare me. Now, my most notable horror films that have scared me in the past, like, torturously in a way, would be Alien, Ringu, hell, even The Blob of recent, the 1980s version, was quite terrifying. But ghost films have always had this facade to me. Now, I'm mostly going to be talking about The Conjuring. I won't be talking about the plot or the story or anything like that, but more or less how the beats of the horror connect. Because most ghost films have a very basic structure, same as even like The Haunting of Hill House, the Netflix version. I've seen one of the original versions of that as well. I think it was just called The Haunting. So I've seen ghost films that range from Haxan, the witchcraft one, all the way through to, The Conjuring and The Haunting of Hill House. I've seen a lot of shitty ones as well, mostly like Paranormal Activity, stuff like that. Ones that focus too heavily on jump scares and mediocre nothingness in between, and then jump scares, so it's tiring to watch. But other films, the better ghost films, which, yes, usually still involve either the ghost of a dead person, whether they've been killed or they were a tortured soul or some shit that is connected to a place or a belonging, whatever, and is there to haunt the place and, attack anyone who comes by kind of deal. Like that classic Scooby-Doo episode where there's a ghost that attacks people because they come by the castle. It's my favorite Scooby-Doo one. Anyway, it's a spooky ghost. It's just a magician, still. But then there's there's the more, it's actually a demon, and it's gonna possess you, and then it just becomes like a mixture of, like, The Conjuring in particular evolves from just a classic ghost story haunting at a property that evolves into demon possession. And it's not even really a demon, it's more of a demonic evil spirit that possesses you, which is interesting. But the beats of those films string out as introduce your characters, then you introduce the horror location or the horror object, and then you get some scares, you get some slight creeps every here and there, builds up until you get some real bangers of the night, and then suddenly these people are like, okay, this is fucked, we need to do something about this, and hence they find either paranormal investigators or, I don't know, a Catholic priest, and hence they take care of the problem. And then in that half, you gotta convince the person that, or you need enough evidence that this is a demonic presence or a ghostly presence or whatever it is, so we can find out a solution, and then they execute the solution. It's a very basic setup, and they're all pretty much the same. It doesn't matter if it's a tragic ending or a happy ending. The tragedy may be, oh, the ghost will possess the main character or one of the main characters or the romantic interest, and the romantic interest they'll have to sacrifice themselves in order to appease this ghost, or in order to get rid of this ghost, this spirit or whatever. Like, there's shit like that, but then there's shit like, the Conjuring, where it's just exorcise the demon, boom, Bob's your uncle, your house is free now, you can either stay here, though I would personally run the fuck away, or you can leave. I would personally run the fuck away. And so it's interesting to watch these films. You have the exact same experience. You know that something scary is going to happen, whether it happens immediately at the start of the lure you're in, or if it happens in the progress of the next 10 to 20 minutes. Once you get to that real big location, again, like The Haunting, where you set up your characters, and then they get to the location, and then they're slowly building up, like, oh, every night something spooky is going to happen, till they start finding out in the second act what the fuck is really going on, and in the third act all the drama ensues, and then they resolve it. It's a very simple structure, like I said. But for me, I think one of the joys of watching ghost films is the use of tension. And I really like this in particular in the Conjuring film with its tension. It utilizes silence in the first half of the film to emphasize the horror, because you're listening, attentively listening, kind of on your seat, grouped on your cinema chair, waiting. Instead of eating your popcorn, you're just waiting for that sound effect to come along, something creepy, whether it's someone laughing, someone clapping, someone just opening a door, or something smashing. Maybe it's a big loud noise. I don't know. Is it paranormal activity, or is it The Exorcist? We don't know, okay? And so that can be really well executed, and it is a key part. Sometimes, again, you could have like the Scooby-Doo TV show where you still have your creepy music kind of playing along, but then that also has like upbeat kind of music to be like where they're running away from the ghost. So that's kind of different. That doesn't really tie in quite well. But you can sometimes have music to give it an eerie feeling. However, The Conjuring in particular utilizes that music in the second half of the film, and that adds more atmosphere to the emotion of the scenes, because by this stage you know the characters, you know what they're going through, you understand them, and you care for them. You care for them enough that you hope that they don't all die, or whatever the crap tragedy could potentially ensue. So by that stage, the music is allowed to come into the film, but also it's utilized to, like, diminish some of the tension. Like, because again, after every night of the haunting thing, you cut to daytime or cut to another character in a different location, and that tension eases. So once you've gone through the whole structure of the film, once you've actually experienced it all and you get to the end of it, suddenly you get to this point where it's 12:30 at night and you open your door, it's black, turn the light on, and you're like, shit. Kind of afraid to look in the glass or into the mirrors, or to just see some kind of mundane movement that could incite something potentially hazardous. Cough, cough, there might be a ghost in my house. Of course, there actually isn't. I know Cooper does look creepy at times, but he is no ghost. He is made of cardboard. Nevertheless, it's just interesting to see this stuff and to try to fucking go to sleep afterwards. Like, again, I don't find ghosts. I think ghost films are particularly roller coaster like. They're a great experience to have, and especially like The Conjuring, where by the second half of the film, where you care enough for the characters, you really want to see them take down this evil, but you also want to see this evil do more stuff to the other characters that you like to make it more interesting. You know, whether it's scary or not. You know, there's one particular scene in The Conjuring where they're all in the household there after the first night of nothing happening since the Warrens have arrived. That's kind of weird. But then the second night, one of the girls gets grabbed by the ghost, and it starts dragging her around the room and everything, and everyone's like trying to grab onto her and trying to save her and all this kind of stuff, and like that's kind of exciting to watch them all go through it, because now it's like the horror becomes excitement. You kind of at glee to see this ghost fuck around with the people that you're watching, rather than it being solely it's focused on one character or two characters. It's either children, multiple, usually at most two or at least two, or one solo adult who has to face off against an invisible creature. And it's just kind of funny to watch that. Like, you know that you're in that position. It's like, oh, what would you do if you were in that position? No, don't go into that room. Just close the door and fucking run. There's so much shit like that, but it's like the start of the roller coaster ride. You get the little humps and dumps and everything. And it's great fun. But then when you really get into the kicker of it, you go long terms up and then a lot of relief and then up, and it's good stuff. I don't really know what the point of this video is. I'm kind of tired, but more or less the point is just that ghost films can just, again, they're all very formulative. Now, of course, you can have the ones that don't use much tension, or it's just, oh, the tension builds up and then you get a big loud jump scare. It's like, yeah, but does it have to? You don't have to have jump scares. And even when I was talking to my brother about the Conjuring, he was like, yeah, isn't that the one with all those great jump scares? I'm like, it doesn't even feel like a film that even had jump scares. It has like two, and they're not like over the top or anything. They're deserved, they're earned. Like, they're in the narrative, they're actually earned. Being the main one, being the clapping, which that one, is earned in the film. You've had the setup of the kids doing it. Now the payoff is the ghost doing it to the woman. It all makes sense. So yeah, it's interesting to watch. But yeah, I like seeing variations though, when they try to emphasize, the psychology of the characters or of the creatures, the demons, the ghosts themselves. Is it the classic, oh, it's the haunting of this particular location, or is it because of this one particular idol? Again, the Conjuring universe does that as well, where you've got houses that are possessed, but then you've also got items that are possessed. You've got Annabelle, but then you've got a house. Contrast. But then there's like that British film Ghost Stories, which like is also like it showcases different variations of a potential ghost story, and like one has like a demonic creature, one has a ghost of a child, and I can't remember what the last one had. Oh right, yeah, it yeah, the ghost baby, yeah. Bloody weird film. That's another one where it's like it utilizes those techniques of like previous narratives that you've seen, but like it actually wraps itself into a whole, which is quite nice. So that's different. That's different again, and that one's quite unique of a film. This is the Ghost Stories one. Quite unique. Look, nevertheless, I think ghost films are fun. I like when they can play with light or invisible tricks, whether it be just someone in a green suit that they're just cropping out of the video just to have them drag along people. Like yeah, that does happen. It's not always original or amazing, but special effects have evolved very well to be able to enhance the experience. Nevertheless, that's what my thoughts are just currently on ghost films. There's probably a lot more I could dive into it, and maybe I will one day, but for now, that's all. So, thanks for watching. What do you think? What's your favourite ghost film? Do you guys like ghost films? I like ghost films. Yeah. Suggest me some good ones. Like, actually, properly good ones. Yeah. Alrighty. Adios.